Is there a reason why we're seeing you linked to YouTube? Why are we seeing that on the screen? Dwayne.
JB, I'm going to take that off in a sec. 1 sec.
Yeah. You should have the slideshow running. Don't let them see this.
Slideshow's
Is
gonna
there
come
a
on.
reason why we're seeing you linked to YouTube? Why are we seeing that on the screen?
No, hold tight. I'm saying I'm going to take, it's going to come off in a sec.
Dwayne.
Yes? Yeah. Can you hear me? JB, I'm going to take that off in a sec. 1 sec.
Yeah. You should have the slideshow running. Don't let them see this. Is there a reason why we're seeing you linked to YouTube? Why are we seeing that on the screen?
No, hold tight. I'm saying I'm going to take, it's going to come off in a sec.
Dwayne.
Yes? Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I heard you. I said Jack's just arrived.
JB, I'm going to take that off in a sec. 1 sec. Yeah.
Let's start. Is there a reason why we're seeing you linked to YouTube? Why are we seeing that on the screen?
No, hold tight. I'm saying I'm going to take, it's going to come off in a sec.
Dwayne.
Yes? Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I heard you. I said Jack's. Empress, I thought they meant to be here. We're
African origin to the war event. So that's something that we're celebrating, to state the obvious. And we see so many faces here and members of the community, which is great, but key personnel, soldiers who remember what it was like being in the war. Thank you very much for your contribution. And I just want to conclude with saying, yet again, welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you.
Head to head. Have a sexy here and move on. As they check in at each other's places. Ooh! And size up the competition. Fur code.
New screwdrivers spin much quicker.
There's much better down there.
What the?
brothers and sisters, good morning. Or is it afternoon? My name is Gus John. I am a practitioner in the spiritual tradition of the Yoruba people of West Africa, the Ifa tradition. I welcome our Christian family here today. I welcome our Islamic family here today. But before I do anything else, I just want to say this, that at these memorial events every year, there never is any acknowledgement of the fact that Christianity did not completely displace the spiritual traditions and practices of the African people who gave their lives in 2 world wars as part of the British Empire. This monument is here because those people have been erased from British military history. It is as if they did not fight.
They've put it.
It is as if they did not die.
This time, Maya.
It is as if their contribution was totally irrelevant.
You asking me about it?
Historical erasure. So I'm proud to be one of those people who were responsible for making this monument happen. And I want to acknowledge, where is the man? I want to acknowledge Jack Bueller, Dr. Jack, who was a pioneer and started all of this off. So, without much more ado, I will start this ritual. We call it libation. Can I have your help? We call it libation. And the tradition is that we pour alcohol into the ground in memory of our ascended ancestors. So we call Eledumare Mother, Father, Spirit, God, Creator of the universe. We call Eku the spirit of our ancestors. We celebrate and honor the spirit of all of those from Africa and its diaspora who gave their lives in 2 world wars and in conflicts since 1945. We remember the sacrifices that they made in order that our freedoms might be preserved. Freedoms that they themselves were not allowed to enjoy. So that even as they fought to preserve our freedom, they were harassed by racism, the same racism that we as their descendants are having to confront even at this point. And that is why I say, as we remember them, remind them that their work is not yet done. They do not have the luxury of resting in peace until such time that racism has been eliminated from the world and from our lives. They do not have the luxury of resting in peace while their descendants, young children born in this country, are slaughtering one another on the streets of Britain. They do not have the luxury of resting in eternal peace while we are being denied the opportunity to be our full selves because of the systemic racism within this society. So this remembrance is not just about piously remembering the dead. It is about acknowledging what they fought for, and the fact that what they fought for is being denied to those whom they left behind. Let us therefore, all of us, remember those who were Christian, remember those who were Muslim, remember those who had no faith, and work together for the liberation of the human spirit, that we might all enjoy our place under the sun. Ashe, ashe, ashe.
Oh, it's gone. My voice is gone.
Libation ceremony. There's so much into this year's children in need. I don't know where to start.
How about this? Him?
A little bit of this.
Definitely this.
These guys.
And a whole.
I've taken him off.
One of the sub-assembly areas, the front suspension upright is being put together. The hook and brake disc are carefully placed over a spindle. A washer and nut then follows. Once tight, a purpose-built washer is then placed over it, and the locking pin is
O God of truth and justice, we hold before you those whose memories we cherish and those whose names we will never know. Help us to lift our eyes above the tournament of this broken world and grant us the grace to pray for those who sacrifice their life for us and their families, forever hold them dear. Amen. Okay.
One, two. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll give it up to the film over there. Marcy and Cameron, thank you so much.
Jack, I've got to mic you up. Sure.
First, I want to say it's really lovely to see you all here on this Remembrance Sunday. It is our 5th annual celebration. And the first thing I want to say is very grateful to Lambeth for allowing us to put this historical memorial here. It is not our intention to war with the stakeholder. That's never, ever going to be our intention. But we are always going to retain the right to celebrate in our own way, in our own tradition, the African and Caribbean Memorial Remembrance Day. Am I right? Can we give it up for the wonderful drummers, ladies and gentlemen? Bringing the history, bringing the culture to this wonderful day. Okay, let me just, okay. What I'd like to do now is welcome a High Commissioner from Kenya, Deputy High Commissioner, who's going to speak on behalf of the African people who contributed to both World Wars. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for the Deputy Kenyan High Commissioner. Thank you, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Good afternoon. It's my great pleasure to join my fellow African and Caribbean countrymen, also to join the veterans who are here with us. I bring you greetings from the Republic of Kenya. You kindly receive the greetings from Kenya. Do you? Let me say briefly that wars that were fought, which have united us today, marking this 5th anniversary. These are wars that were fought far away from our respective countries. But they taught, the event taught us something very, very important. They taught us the ethos of sacrifice, loyalty, and selflessness. And those are the ethos that even today inspire our young men and women to join in the service, of their respective countries. And Kenya, among other African countries, joins forces with that, to maintain peace in Africa, maintain democracy in Africa, and it is the veterans and these events which happened during the First World War and the Second World War that inspire our young men and women to join in the service. And it is very, very important, and I hail that we can be able to commemorate these events so that we can continue inspiring our service, our women and men to join in service of their country. Thank you very much, and may God bless you all. Thank you very much for that. It's absolutely wonderful. Okay. Back to my co-host, who is the chair of the Nubian Jak. I'd like to welcome the deputy now of Lambeth Council, ladies and gentlemen. Our partner.
Her name is Pauline George. She's a princess of Nigeria. Chancellor Princess George.
Thank you so much.
And you walk like royalty. You,
My people, can you hear me properly?
Nubian Jak, Deputy Mayor of the London Borough of Lambeth. I'm originally from Nigeria, and my daddy was a veteran. Thank you for giving up your present for our future. They give up their present for our future. They are here to recognize what they have done for us and appreciate them. Because Black people have done a lot in Britain. We must appreciate this. And ethnic minority, we must be proud of what we are. And we have done very well. Thank you everyone for being here, taking your time to get here, taking your morning and afternoon to be here with us. Because the fact is, we are Black and proud. Thank you, my people.
Absolutely, we're Black and proud. At this point, I'd like to invite Bell Rivera Adi, MP, to do the Lambeth tribute. Thank you very much. Round of applause, please.
Thank you, and good afternoon, everyone. I've actually just returned from Accra, Ghana, where I was on a delegation with other members of Parliament. I was really pleased on the 11th to join their Remembrance celebrations. It really struck me sitting there in the cemetery in my mother's hometown and celebrating and commemorating the fallen there. And it struck me just how being in another country, just how everybody was doing this somewhere, everywhere around the world. And it made me realize even more and more just how much there is unity around commemorating our veterans. And there was one quote which one of those leading the program put out to us, and she said, "A country that doesn't honor its veterans isn't worth dying for." I think it's really, really important that we remember that always. I was very pleased to be able to join my great uncle, who was a veteran of World War II, Private Ashley Hammond, 96 years old now, still going strong, and perhaps the last remaining member of the Gold Coast Forces at that time. Now, we stand here together to remember those who came before us, to whom we owe so much, to honour those who stood against fascism and in defence of all of our freedoms. Today, we remember them, but most importantly, we remember them all. We remember those from Britain and the rest of the world who made huge sacrifices in 2 world wars, which caused unimaginable damage and took millions of lives, and remember all of those who have lost their lives in conflict since. In an area that is shaped by the people from all over the Commonwealth, we have to remember the hundreds and thousands of soldiers from Africa, Asia and the Caribbean who served and died. Just this year, an investigation by the Commonwealth War Graves Commission discovered that up to 350,000 predominantly African and Middle Eastern First War casualties may not have been commemorated by name or at all. 45,000 and 54,000 African and Asian casualties were also commemorated unequally. And we also have to remember, as we look at this beautiful monument behind us, that unfortunately there is a more elaborate war memorial to animals in this country than there is to our Commonwealth soldiers. And that is completely unacceptable. As an opposition, a member of Parliament in opposition, I find many things to criticise the government about. But as I said, a country that doesn't honour its veterans is not worth dying for. And one thing that we can be proud of in Britain is how we commemorate our veterans, but we do not do it equally. And it's so important that we have this event today. Now, it's our duty to remember all of them, and it's our duty to stand together and say never again. Never again shall we allow war and destruction to rip across the globe and allow lives to be lost to needless conflicts. Never again will we send our soldiers to fight in unnecessary and unjust wars. We have to live in pursuit of peace and justice and equality, so that those who died for those very things will rest in the honour, peace and dignity that they deserve. We stand here in memory of the fallen in all wars, in memory of all of those, and ask that we all strive to create a world of peace that truly honours them equally. Thank you very much.
To say that well said would be an understatement. So thank you, Vera. I'd also like to invite Helen Hayes, the MP, to also do another tribute. Thank you. Round of applause.
Great privilege to join this act of remembrance this afternoon at the African Caribbean War Memorial. I'm extremely proud that this memorial is in my constituency of Dulwich and West Norwood, and this act of remembrance, along with several others that I've taken part in today, is particularly special and important because it is the time when we remember the courage and the bravery and the sacrifice of those whose stories have not always been acknowledged and have not always been told. And that is a matter of shame for our country, but it is important that every single year we put that right by making this deliberate act of remembrance. And this is not a sentimental occasion. This is an act of remembrance that we do assertively, and we do deliberately, and we do in order to recognise the wrongs of the past, and in order to do what we can to make good for those problems. We need to ensure that the version of history that we recall and that we tell our children is truthful and complete. And that includes the courage and the selflessness of those who served in our armed forces, despite the racism, despite the prejudice, and despite the injustice that they suffered. I want to honour this year in particular my constituent Alan Wilmot, who very sadly passed away just a short time ago. Alan, you know, was from Jamaica, and he joined the Royal Navy in 1941. And he joined the Royal Air Force in 1944. And that in itself is an extraordinary thing, to be a member of our armed forces who served not only in one branch of the armed forces, but in two. Despite this service, when Alan came to London in 1947, following the Second World War, he faced, along with many others from the Windrush generation, many others of those pioneers, great hardship. And it is just shameful to recall that Alan slept many times on trains on the London Underground because it was warmer and safer than anywhere else that he had to go. That was not due recognition and honour for a brave member of our armed forces. Alan went on to have a very successful career as a recording artist and performer with the Southlanders and also in the Post Office. And we honour him here today, and our thoughts are with his family and all of his loved ones as they mourn his loss. It is my commitment as a Member of Parliament for this great diverse constituency of Dulwich and West Norwood, and as a Member of Parliament for Brixton, to commit to the reform of the curriculum in our schools. We cannot any longer have from our history of people who have played such vital roles. So I campaign and I will work until we get the history curriculum that teaches of the history of this country, our history of migration, which unites all of us, whatever the colour of our skin, wherever our ancestors came from. We are a country that is formed and shaped and sustained by migration, and a history which also tells of the injustices and the wrongs of the past so that we can put them right in the future, and so that we can honour everybody who has played a role and all who have served.
That's it. Beautiful, beautiful. Let's give it up for Helen Hayes, ladies and gentlemen. We're very fortunate to have someone from the United States who's come over here to give us a keynote address in the heart
Use
of
that mic,
Lambeth.
it's feedback. Turn off that mic.
In the heart of Lambeth. I could be a singer, right? Okay. In the heart of Lambeth, he's come all the way from the United States, ladies and gentlemen. He is only the second person to do an international address at this memorial twice. So you are witnessing the history. And we are very fortunate to have Lieutenant Colonel Anthony Lim.
It's an honor to thank you, Dr. Jack, for the introduction. It's an honor to be back here for a second time and to deliver this address for the second year in a row. And obviously, it's wonderful to have so many more people here this year than we had last year. Let's try and stay a little bit closer to the mic. Standing at this memorial for the personnel from Africa and the Caribbean, I think it's appropriate to spend a few moments reflecting on a soldier and statesman who were recently lost. U.S. Secretary of State. Many of you know that Secretary Powell is from New York City. You may know also that his parents were from Jamaica. After growing up in the South Bronx, he attended the City College of New York and was a member of the Reserve Officer Training Corps, ROTC. So the ROTC program, thank you. The ROTC program is one of the reserve training, was one of the officer commissioning programs. After graduating from that program, he had a long career, which I will not go into. Many of you are familiar with the first that he had. I often say that I stand on the shoulders of giants, and perhaps none more noteworthy than Secretary Powell. I and many leaders, not only from the military, but from other walks of life, like to model our leadership models after some of his tenets. My favorite is this, and I'll read. Leadership is solving problems. The day soldiers stop bringing you their problems is the day you have stopped leading them. They have either lost the confidence that you can help or concluded that you do not care. Either case is a failure of leadership. That quote, I think, typifies servant leadership and is a model for all of us, regardless of our professions or walks of life. In Kansas, at a U.S. Army post in Fort Leavenworth, Secretary Powell was serving in a leadership role in the early 1980s. You realize that there is a memorial to the Buffalo soldiers at that post. Now, many of you will know that the Buffalo soldiers were the 24th and 25th Infantry Regiments, the 9th and 10th Cavalry Regiments. They were segregated U.S. Army units that served in the American West in the late 19th century. These units continued to serve with distinction and professionalism all the way through, right through to the end of World War II. Secretary Powell noticed that there was not a memorial honoring their service. He was a leadership role there, so he started a program to get one built. Secretary Powell realized that his career was enabled by the men and women who came before him that were part of the Buffalo soldiers. He realized that he too stood on the shoulders of giants. He also recognized that memorial in Kansas is not honoring Black history, it's honoring American history. The Buffalo soldiers are a vital part of American history, and you can't tell the story of America without telling the story of the Buffalo soldiers. We see that example here today. It was recognized that a memorial like this was needed. And through a lot of leadership, and I'm sure no shortage of long hours, late nights, emails, and phone calls, this memorial was eventually built and then placed here at Windrush Square. We stand on the shoulders of giants, and their story is captured in memorials like this, and especially in this one. The stories of the men and women representing this monument deserve to be told. They need to be told. Our younger generations must know the sacrifices of their forebears that came before them. Many of whom later moved to the UK, as we've heard, to make a new life for themselves. These courageous men and women, some 1 million strong just in World War II alone, played an integral role in the defense of freedom from tyranny. They helped create the world that we know today, and it's altogether fitting that we honor them. These heroes and heroines of African descent should continue to serve as role models for our younger generations. It is my hope that our younger generations will not only continue to learn their history, but to continue to be inspired by them. There are so many opportunities now for our young people in all fields of endeavor, from the arts, science, technology, business. I think that we can continue to honor the memory and the legacy of our heroes and heroines by continuing to strive forward and seize the opportunities they helped create for us. Thank you.
So, yeah. We'll hear about the drums, ladies and gentlemen. It's a beautiful thing. Give for the drums, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay. There are many remarkable people in this audience here today. It's nice to see some young people. There's a very special woman here in this audience. She's seen it all. She's an extraordinary publisher, thinker, activist, very shy. So I'm going to give this massive introduction to her, because I know she's thinking. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, give it up for the remarkable Dr. Margaret Busby.
Close enough. Can everybody hear me? Thank you, Dr. Jack, for that introduction. Not as tall as everybody thinks I am. So. I'm going to read a poem written by Lord Mackay, the African-American writer. It was published in the Liberator magazine in 1919. And it speaks to the spirit of resistance to oppressed people everywhere in the continuing strife, fight and struggle for freedom and justice. It's called If We Must Die. If we must die, let it not be like hogs, hunted and penned in an inglorious spot, while round us bark the mad and hungry dogs, making their mock at our accursed lot. If we must die, oh, let us nobly die, so that our precious blood may not be shed in vain. Then even the monsters we defy shall be constrained to honor us, though dead. O kinsmen, we must meet the common foe. Though far outnumbered, let us show us brave, and for their 1,000 blows deal one death blow. What though before us lies the open grave? Like men we'll face the murderous, cowardly pack, pressed to the wall, flying, but fighting back. Margaret, that was well read and very, very relevant. Okay, so we now come to the African Caribbean medals ceremony. We have 3 recipients today, so I'd like to give you insight to the first recipient. And that is Lynette Richards Lord. Now, Lynette is receiving this award, this medal, for her amazing work in the NHS and contribution to health. She was Unit General Manager for Women and Children and Director of Midwifery. She arrived in February 1959 from Guyana. And she also conducted research into low birth rates and represented the UK and introduced a countrywide hearing service in Guyana while here, raising £250,000. How fantastic is that? Next is also a diabetic community champion and founded the Association of Guyanese Nurses. Well done, Lynette. It's a privilege to be here. And I'd like to say thank you very much to Nubian Jak and to it's not just me, it's for all the people who've made contribution to the NHS, because we've all made a contribution, and I've just one of a few. So I'd just like to say thank you very much for this honor. A worthy recipient. Okay, so our second recipient is Charlie Phillips. Charlie, please come up. Charlie Phillips. I know we should. And elbows. The amazing Charlie Phillips. And for those who don't know, he is absolutely famous for his photography. And he's been at practically every Nubian Jak Trust event, photographing on our behalf. And again, his work is commonly published across the country. He is also a member of the National Film Theatre Committee and a worthy recipient of this medal.
After 55 years, they took me out of retirement and they just began to acknowledge some of my work. We're coming up to the 7th generation now, and the reason I continue is because there's a missing gap in our history. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. How long have I got? Because of the technical. Well, if I'm bored, cut me out. No, but it's very important now because we're coming up to the 7th generation. It's very important because we're coming up to the 7th generation of our youth, and there's a missing gap in our history. They took me out of retirement because I've been doing this work for the last 50 years, and everybody used to laugh off. I got talking to my accent, yeah. After all, it's multicultural England now, so yeah. When I'm supposed to be old people, I've been talking about one accent, yeah. Because if it was Irish or Scottish, they would have talking a them accent. So, yeah. So those are yeah. It's part of our history because what happens is a missing gap in our history, and we didn't talk to people them when we were growing up. You couldn't ask them nothing. When you used to ask your parents or your big people, and them used to say, shut up with the pig, they should be seen and that hurt. And that caused a missing gap in our history, whether you like it or not. So I beg one of the great grandparents and we don't be shy talk to the people and tell them everything. Don't hide nothing. Let me start calling Uncle Charlie because there might be other story, but there's a missing gap in our history, and which has got to be corrected. Yeah, thank you for listening to me.
Another champion of our community. We move on to the final recipient. I'd just like to say, in acknowledgement, Colonel Anthony Mims actually talked about a relative of mine, Colin Powell. Very proud of his contribution to the US community. Thank you. So our third recipient is Vincent Campbell, who was president of the Jamaica Association in the UK and director of the Black Business Association. He was also chair of the Enfield Race Equality Council and the first Black managing director in the UK. He was an engineer who created a device that pumps oil from the deep sea even to today. And he received Queen's Awards for his work in industry, the first one in 1973. Also becoming the first Black man to receive Queen's Award for industry. I'm very proud of him, particularly not just being a member of the Black community, but certainly as my uncle. And his daughter is here today, Patricia Campbell, who is receiving this award on his behalf because he's too ill to be here in person. He's now 93 years young. Thank you.
I am very, very, very proud to be here today and receive this award on behalf of my father. My dad is now 93 years old and with ill health, he's unable to be with us today. But I know he would be so grateful for this award. And as a family, we thank everybody for recognizing the work that he has done in the community and beyond the community. Thank you so much for this award. Thank you.
So a race advocate. And if anyone's familiar with Latimer School, the grammar school in North London, he actually discovered that practically all members of the boards of governors and most of the teachers were members of far-right party and got them all dismissed and part of improvement of more inclusive education. It's making Latin schools together.
Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, we're nearing the end of this ceremony. Before we do that, we're going to have I'm going to introduce the Brixton Church drummers. We're going to do a little soliloquy on the drums. And then we're going to have a 2-minute silence. And then we're going to lay the wreath. And they're going to remember the forgot today. So, Brixton Church drummers, welcome to Windrush Square.
Oh, step off together, light the center, quick march.
So thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Give it up for Brixton Drummers. Thank you. It's time to get serious now. ITV, I hope you got that. Beautiful. It's a beautiful thing. ITV, ladies and gentlemen. Right, I'm going to ask you all to stand, please. We are now going to have a 2-minute silence in remembering the African and Caribbean soldiers and everybody who served in both world wars. Starting now. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Am I called to the stage, please? Thank you very much. The founder of Black History Month in this country, a remarkable man. Every October, it is because of his legacy why we remember Britain's diverse history. His name is Akayaba Ade Sebu, and he's going to read the names of all the African and Caribbean nations that served in World War I and World War II, and we will have the wreath laying ceremony at the same time. So, Ade, ladies and gentlemen, the founder of Black History Month, come on.
Thank you very much. Black history matters. Black veterans matter. Black lives matter. Black history matters. Why? Because Black history is a history of humanity. That is the truth. Black history is the history of humanity. We got Black history established. We got Black history established basically to celebrate and pay tribute to the contributions of Africans and people of African descent to the growth and development of the United Kingdom and Europe from antiquity to the present. From antiquity to the present. And we are here celebrating a very significant part of our story. It is because of history that we are here. Remembrance is history.
Before we do the actual, sorry.
Before we actually name the countries, we're going to have our dignitaries, of course, first lay the wreaths. That's only the right thing to do. May I welcome Helen and Belle, please, to lay your wreaths. Thank you. discuss. Would you like to step forward, please? Dr. Dorian, Dr. Margaret. Trustees of Nubian Jak.
Will our honored two military gentlemen please say their read? His Excellency, representative of the people of Kenya.
Now, everybody who would like to lay a wreath, come to this side. One, Akbar, Yaba, Sabu, Ade, Adesabi, breathes out the country. So please, ladies and gentlemen, would you please come to the left? And we'll give you a wreath to lay on behalf of the African and Caribbean countries. Thank you so much.
African and Caribbean nations who served alongside Britain in World War I and World War II. Antigua. Antigua and Barbados. The Bahamas. Botswana and British Virgin Islands. Botswana, British Virgin Islands. Cayman Islands. Dominica, Kingdom of Eswatini. Dominica. Kingdom of Eswatini. Gambia. Ghana. Grenada. Guyana. Jamaica. America.
Give thanks, people. We have more people to lay the wreaths. This is our community ritual. Please come and lay the wreaths on behalf of Africa, the Caribbean, and all our military. Okay, please.
Oh my lord. Excuse me, sir. There we go. The live stream. Yes.
Jamaica. Lesotho. Madagascar. Malawi. Mauritius. Montserrat. Mozambique. Namibia. Nigeria. Rwanda. Seychelles. Sierra Leone.
I can't even circumstance it, bro. Yeah. But I can't do much. I just keep it on. I'm keeping on those.
Republic of South Africa. St. Kitts, Nevis, and Anguilla. St. Lucia, St. Vincent, Tanzania, Trinidad and Tobago, Turks and Caicos, Uganda, Zambia, and Zimbabwe.
Just to give it up for Akiambo and Sebu. Thank you, my beautiful brother. We salute you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay. I know. Ladies and gentlemen, we wanted to have a special moment for a 97-year-old who served in World War II. And he gets a special mention. That man is Gilbert Clark. 97, ladies and gentlemen. World War II veteran. That's how he looks. Thank you, Gilbert. It's a beautiful thing. I'm not sure about his driving, but that's another thing. We've also got to remember, ladies and gentlemen, Alan Wilmot, the wonderful Alan Wilmot, ladies and gentlemen. Ashay! Alan Wilmot, we remember you too. Okay, I think we've done it. We've done the 5th annual ceremony on Windsor Square. The army weren't here, just in case. We're going to keep it as a... okay. So, okay, ladies and gentlemen, I know you don't like the limelight, but I think we should have a word from Captain Wayne Douglas. Sound me right? Here we go. Someone's got a lot of explaining to do.
Hello, everybody. Yes, I do apologise. Can you hear me? This morning at 11 o'clock, there was a ceremony here. There were a good number of soldiers, the Navy, Fire Brigade, and all black serving members were here today. The next time we do this collectively, we'll all be together moving forward, so you guys will see the presence that the armed forces have in this stage now, because there are many, many youngsters in the military now from all Commonwealth countries serving. And I think people outside don't realise that. We do make about 10% of the armed forces now. Whenever you watch programs on TV, black people tend to shy away from the camera, so there's an impression that we're not there. But I will tell you, we were there in the past, and we are there now. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, we have an anthem, a national anthem. But before we do the national anthem, our chair would like to say something. Please don't make it back.
I'm sorry, Jack. It is about you. Without this man, Nubian Jak Community Trust in the Afro-Caribbean project would not exist. He's worked tirelessly, put my teeth in, to make this happen. And so that you can go back and tell other people about the work of Nubian Jak Community Trust, which is worthy. It commemorates the contributions and the achievements of people of African and Afro-Caribbean origin to British society. And the world needs to know about that. We only help Jack. Jack deserves a round of Thank you. So we have the national anthem now.
The sticks in here. I'd like to introduce you to the UK
King of Calypso. Yeah, we'll do that, bro. That's the one that goes in it. The UK King of Calypso. His name is Alexander the Great. Come on. Fantastic. You're going to do a special song for us.
Yeah, this song was written back in 1998 when I used to watch Memorial Sunday and see no black or brown faces. It's called Remember Our Heroes. I'm glad to say I sing it every year. I pick up much guitar because the mic's not that strong, but here we go. Of our heroes we should be proud, calling their names out loud. When the whole world had gone to war, Africans and Caribbeans helped even the score. The British government came and asked us to help the mother country, but many volunteered right away to rid this world of tyranny. So remember our heroes who left homes and wives and journeyed to Europe just to fight for all our lives, to shake off our forefathers' shackles and gyves. Because of them, freedom survives. They were proud to don uniform and to face the eye of the storm. Boys too young would lie about their age, filled with keen and justified rage. The Caribbean regiment fought for freedom and future equality, and formed a bridgehead for generations to come, for both you and me. So remember our heroes who left homes and wives and journeyed to Europe just to fight for all our lives, to shake off our forefathers' shackles and gyves. Because of them, freedom survives. Now many thousands left their home shores to assist in both the world wars. And if Hitler had had his way, there might be no black people today. The Ministry of Defense once sought to play down their contribution, but without them, we could not call VE Day a true commemoration. So remember our heroes who left homes and wives and journeyed to Europe just to fight for all our lives, to shake off our forefathers' shackles and gyves. Because of them, freedom survives. Because of them, freedom survives.
Next year we're going to have the words for this, but just get in practice for next year. We're going to do that final chorus again, and everyone's going to sing to this one, right? Now, let's go.
Remember our heroes who left homes and wives and journeyed to Europe just to fight for all our lives, to shake off our forefathers' shackles and tribes. Because of them, freedom survives.
I just wanted to some Beatles there. It's coming back to me. Anyway, I want to thank my team, the most wonderful team, the most wonderful, extraordinary team that has allowed this to happen again for the 5th year in a row. Joanne, the wonderful Joanne who was here like 6 a.m. this morning. So wonderful Joanne, let's give it up for extraordinary Joanne. And of course, the beautiful, wonderful, irrepressible lady, First Lady of the Womanhood, Siniwa Gaji. Come on. Yeah. And just for this ceremony, most of all, are African drummers, man. Thank you. Thank you so much.
So, thank you all so much. And someone in the community has created a very good keepsake for us. It's a calendar, and I think our soldier held it up, and it's called Lest We Forget. And she's got a special price for them at a £5 today. And it's 2022. And if you think about 100 years ago, the most honorable Marcus Messiah Garvey had his own troops in place. So, you know, let's look at this calendar to remind us where else we have been and the work that we have done globally, and remember what we have to do for ourselves. Self-determination, and this is our message, lest we forget. So my sister, you have quite a few to sell. You want to see where you are? Hold your hand up. There she is with it. So I do recommend. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a great, great Sunday. Thank you.
is an island, and no man stands alone. Treaty as your brother, and remember each man's dream as your own. No man is an island.